Hello everyone, my name is Mackenzie Hughes and I'm back again. Um, just wanted to congratulate you guys on your 22nd annual April 1 Systems Golf Tournaments. Um, I understand this year your topic is, or your theme has been around security, and you had some questions themed around this which were sent over to me. So I'm going to try and answer those the best I can, and hopefully there's some parallels to what you guys are doing. So I've been asked to discuss securing the fairway, how to avoid the most common mistakes that lead to a slice or a hook off a tee, also discuss golf course management. Okay, so for me, off the tee, I think the biggest thing that I see players struggle with is just good setup. So are you aimed where you're trying to aim? Is your grip fundamentally sound? Are your shoulders square? Feet lined up properly? I mean, when I say good alignment, I don't mean just are your feet square. Shoulders, hips, forearms. There's so many things that can throw the golf swing off. So that's probably the biggest thing for me is, if I get my setup pretty much dialed in every time, I'm going to hit a lot of fairways and hit a lot of good shots. So that's the biggest thing for me that I notice. And I think for you guys going forward, I mean, just putting that alignment stick down the range is a big help. And I think that might help you guys secure a few more fairways. I've been asked to discuss securing my grip. Anything different from a driver to a shot, long or short, out of the sand or the rough? What about your putter? Do you interlock or overlap your fingers? I am an interlock guy. There is no right or wrong answer to that question. You just need to do whatever's most comfortable for you. So for me, it's interlock. A lot of guys out here overlap, but it really is up to you. Now, I don't really do a whole lot different from shot to shot. My grip's always the same. But if I'm in a bunker and I want to hit a soft, high shot, my grip is going to be weaker than it would be for an ordinary full shot. Now, I have a traditionally strong grip for my full swing, so I try and weaken it to help the shot come out a little softer and higher out of the bunker. So hard to describe without really having a club in front of me, but weaker is to put your hands on the club and see less of your left hand, top part of your hands. I would see fewer knuckles on my left hand, and my right hand would be more on top of the club versus more on the side of the club. So that would be, in a sense, weaker, and that just helps with softer bunker shots and even just other shots around the greens where you want to be a bit more delicate. They just come off a little softer and a little higher. So that's something I might tweak for my grip, but other than that, not a whole lot. One other thing I might recommend too is if you are in thick rough and you're trying to hit out of the rough onto the green or back into the fairway, it's really important that if it's really thick and you think it might turn your club over, to just give that a little bit extra firmness. You want to hold it a little bit tighter and just make sure that club doesn't turn over in your hands. And you might hit a shot way left, or you might hit it way right, but if you just grip it a little bit stronger, that should help the club from turning over too much. Discuss securing your clubs at an airport. I recently did have some issues with golf clubs and losing clubs and luggage. It doesn't happen a whole lot, but there isn't a whole lot you can do, to be honest. I mean, you could fly them with different companies now offer services like that, like ship sticks, and I know some guys might FedEx their clubs, but the reality is they can lose them too. And the number of times airlines have lost my clubs is, I can probably count on one hand. So it doesn't happen very often, but certainly it adds a a wrinkle to your plan for that week. So not a whole lot you can do. I have pretty good status with a couple airlines, so I try to fly those ones mainly. And once you have good status, they take care of your clubs and your bags pretty well. So that's probably the best thing you can do, is just try and get some status and get some priority tags on your clubs so they don't toss them around too much. Discuss securing your nerves. What was it like playing with Tiger? So, nerves are a big part of anything you do, really. Anything that you do that you care about and you want to succeed at. I mean, there's an element of nerves. Professional sports and professional golf is no different, and I certainly feel nerves on a daily basis, weekly basis, but only in the best possible way. I mean, I always want to do really well, and I care about what I do, so I do feel nerves, and I just try and treat them like they're a privilege that I've earned. So I practice really hard, and I work hard at my game, so I've earned the right to have those nerves and to be nervous. And I also think that, for instance, when I play with Tiger, obviously it was just an incredible day, and we were off early on a Saturday morning, and sorry, my phone was giving me a notification there. So we're off early on a Saturday morning, and typically crowds on a Saturday morning aren't very big, and people are still waking up. But I get there Saturday morning on the first tee, and there's thousands of people there on the first tee, and that crowd only grew and grew and grew throughout the day. And by the end of the round, once he started to play really well, I mean, there was 10,000-15,000 people lining every hole, and it was unlike anything I've ever seen before. It felt like we were playing a tournament within a tournament, just the two of us, and something I'll never forget. But as far as my nerves that day, I mean, I told myself the night before that this is exactly what I wanted. You want to play with, the best players on the best courses on the biggest stage in the world, and there was no bigger stage that week than the Players' Championship, and no better player in this generation than Tiger Woods. So I told myself, embrace the nerves. I mean, it was going to be a chaotic day with people running around and all that stuff, but just told myself to embrace it and just have fun with it. And I think when you spin it around and into a positive, it's a great thing. If I had said, "Oh my gosh, I don't want to screw up and I don't want to hit someone in the gallery and kill somebody," you could definitely scare yourself into thinking it's a bad thing. But I just flipped it around, told myself it's going to be great, and it was. It was one of the best days I can remember in a long time. Just to give you a little insight on Tiger, I mean, he's actually a really nice guy, super genuine, and for a guy that's won as much as he has, that's pretty cool. And we talked about sports, his kids, various different things, golf topics and whatnot, and just very normal, which again, I've looked up to Tiger and watched him do incredible things on the golf course for a long time, so it was really cool to walk alongside him and share some moments with him. So yeah, that was a lot of fun, and I definitely secured my nerves that day. Discuss security at a golf event. In general, what is different when you play alongside Tiger? So generally, security is pretty tight, and not anyone's going to be able to get into the main gate at a golf course. You have to have the proper identification, all that stuff. So that part in itself, secures the perimeter, and the golf course is very well guarded in terms of who's getting in. But then in terms of when you're actually on site, there is a decent bit of security. But when I'm playing with a guy like Tiger, or even a guy like Phil, but Tiger being the most prevalent for this type of scenario, he would have 3 to 4 armed police officers probably walking with him during a round. So when we played together, I think there was I want to say 3 or 4 police officers walking in with us inside the ropes with firearms, just in case something was to happen. Pretty crazy. If I was with anybody else that morning, there would not have been one cop out there with us. But with Tiger, in that setting, there was definitely some amped up security, and for good reason. I mean, he's probably the most popular and most noticeable athlete in the world. So things could happen, and just in case they do, there's security in place for that. Discuss securing your spot in the PGA Tour. What strategies did you use for deciding on what tournaments you play and skip out on? So there's there's a lot that went into getting to where I am now, and it's been a lot of hard work, a lot of sacrifice, but it's definitely all been worth it to get to where I am now and to play on the PGA Tour. But with that, you need to be smart about where you play, where you don't play, and taking rest when you need it. And I've definitely learned in these couple of years now the courses I like. That really is the main decision or main factor in deciding whether I skip or play an event is the golf course, and then there's other factors beyond that. But there are certain courses I like more than others, and certain courses I've played really well on that I feel like it's hard for me to skip those events going forward, and so that's really the biggest thing. But in order to secure your privileges year in, year out, you need to be smart with how you rest and recuperate your body after long weeks on the road. And for example, last week I had a week off, and I had played 5 weeks in a row prior to that, and your body just needs a rest sometimes. And so yeah, it's really important to manage that, and it'd be great to play every single tournament every year because they're all great and they all have big purses and they're all in great cities, but you need to be smart. And so that's been kind of the way I've gone about it the last couple of years. Discuss securing your brand. What strategy and process do you go through when thinking image? Example, wearing the Toronto jersey at the Canadian Open. Do you have a strategy on when you use Twitter? What have you seen change from a social feed perspective since you made it to the PGA? So my brand is carefully watched by my agency, which is the SBX Group, and so my agent and his team, they're constantly trying to evolve that and watch where that is kind of trending and going. And I would say my image that's been portrayed is sort of young Canadian guy with a young growing family, family oriented, and clean look, clothes and appearance wise, in shape, health conscientious guy. So I think that's in simple terms kind of the way I've been trying to my brand has been, I guess. But in terms of sponsors too, and who you align with, I mean, it's important that you pick people that you believe in the same values that they do. And I think that's important when I partner with these people and these great companies, is that the people behind them are sharing the same values that I do, and which is great. And so as far as the social aspect of it, which has become huge, obviously it's great to brand yourself and to show off on social media all the great stuff we get to do, but there's not really a set parameter as to what I do on social media. It's very much in my hands. Some weeks I get into it a bit more than others, but it really I could use it a lot better than I have been. That's for sure. But it's a big part of golf now and a big part of everyday life. I mean, social media is just exploded. So that's something going forward that I will definitely focus more on. But for right now, I'm definitely more focused on golf, and then also my young growing family. So that's pretty much all I have. I mean, I've rambled on for pretty long now, but just want to thank you guys again for having me be a part of your day, and I hope that part of this was helpful, and that part of it was maybe I don't know, useful in any other way. But yeah, have fun out there, and congrats again on 22 years, and probably see you again next year. All right, take care.